Well, good morning, family. Good morning. Now, after that praise, that incredible praise and worship, and this atmosphere today, I think we can do better than good morning, family. Good morning. Good morning. And also like to welcome our brothers and sisters from Sierra Leone with a booah. I'm not sure if you could, I'm not sure where I'm looking to see if, but to our brothers and sisters in Sierra Leone, I don't know if you heard that or not, but the whole congregation welcomed you, and we're just so excited. 6,000 miles away, and we're connected. We're family. We're here together, and distance does not keep us apart. We pray for you every day. Every day we get updates from Kate on what's going on there, and we're excited about the fact that there's a church being built there. And I don't know about you, but wouldn't it be cool if we kind of pulled some of our resources together? We chartered a jumbo jet and we brought them all over to Buffalo for the Super Bowl. Kate said, yes, that would be amazing. That would be incredible. And certainly looking forward to meeting all of you someday and saying that booah in person. We love you deeply. Just know that. And so, by the way, unless you think I'm obnoxious for bringing a cup of coffee up here, this is a prop. So, yeah, there's nothing. Oh, just kidding. So, by way of introduction to the message this morning, I want to share some experiences that I had over the last couple of months that will help to introduce what we're going to talk about this morning. Some of you know that one of my dreams, I believe the visions that God has given, is to eradicate homelessness in the city of Buffalo. And again, we know that's impossible, but with God all things are possible. And so one of the efforts in that are to build small homes, tiny homes, and to build communities, etc. Thanks to Joe Hammond, we came across a place in Austin, Texas, called Community First Village. And they have done this God's way, and it's been incredible. So they have a community there. It's 51 acres. They have 450 tiny homes in a beautiful village-like setting. All of these homes are of different styles, believe it or not just rows and streets and so on. And there are 450 people there that were taken off the streets, chronically homeless and taken off the streets. And I had the opportunity, again, thanks to Joe and him finding this, I went down in February to take a tour. And I was so impressed. It was so unbelievable. It was like heaven on earth for people that have, by the grace of God, it could have been us on those streets. And these people had a place of permanence. And so I took a tour. I loved it. I got to meet some of the workers there, and we became family together. And so they had what's called a replication seminar, where they have a group of workers there that literally will help you bring that model back to your city. It's not easy. It's very lengthy. It's very challenging. But they had a seminar there, symposium. It was almost a week-long symposium. And it's very expensive, and especially from here, to get down there and so on. And so I asked the Lord, I said, God, what should I do? And he said, go. And I'm a cheapo. So I'm thinking, it's still kind of expensive. So I asked him again, I said, did you say go or no? And he said, go. He said, go. So here's what happened. And again, I'm getting to the intro here. Bear with me. So I said, I have to go. We have to spend this money. Okay. But what happened was my wife came to me and she said, on our credit card bill that we had paid, There was a $477 charge for a motel that we had for our family at Christmas time. And I said, no, I paid that on a different card, and it was much less than that. So I checked with the Marriott, and sure enough, they never put the charge on the card. So it was a fraud. We got $477 back. Then a company that I'm supposedly retired from gave me $600. And I'm up with over $1,000 now. And still, the night before church of the Tuesday that I was leaving, I asked God, I said, I'm going to throw out a fleece. I know I shouldn't do this, but I mean, it would be awesome if something happened. I walk into the doors of church, and no longer I get in the doors, someone hands me an envelope and says, I think you need this. And I opened it up, and there was a series of $100 bills in there that paid for the amount of the trip. It was incredible. And then I'm thinking, okay, the trip is paid for. What about food? I got to pay for food and so on. My daughter lives there with her friend. And we went out to dinner at night and so on. And no matter, I pulled out my credit card, every time it was always paid for. They paid for it. I paid nothing on this trip. God had it all done for the purpose of being there, and maybe for the purpose of part of it being for this message as well. Again, Community First Village provides homes for the chronically homeless, those people that have been on the streets for 8, 10 years, not for someone that's just been on there for 6 months. And they're very intentional on what they do. But one of the things they told us was, and I've heard this in other places that I've visited as well, is it's because of catastrophic loss of family. Whether it's having a parent who wasn't there, or abuse, or some horrible situation in the family, the root cause, when you get down to the very cause of homelessness, is because of the catastrophic loss of family in one way or the other. And so in the symposium, they told us, we're not about eliminating houselessness. We're not about putting a roof over somebody's head. We're about putting someone into a home. And that's what I want to talk about today. The church, our church as a home, not a house, not a roof, or in this case, silos over our head, but a roof or an actual home. And 3 particular things. They gave us 8. We'll go through 3 of them, and what it means to be a church, to be a home, and how we should react and so on to that. So the first thing, well, before that, I'd like you to use your imagination. Some of you have come from some pretty wretched homes, and you don't have fond memories whatsoever of what your home was like. But I want you to use your imagination, and I know it's early, and you may not have had your coffee yet, but think in your imagination, what would be your ideal home? What about your parents, a mom and a dad? What would they be like? What would you like them to be like? What about your siblings or finances? What would be a part of the financial thing? What about relationships in that home? My family, in starting out, we had, I would say, perfect parents. My dad was a tool and die maker at Chevy Tonawanda for 32 years. He was a jack of all trades. He could do everything, but he was a man's man. I never got hugs from him or, Dennis, I love you or whatever, but you knew he loved by what he did. He got up at 4:30 every morning, went to work, never missed a day of work in 32 years, and he always provided for us. He was the hunter. And then my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom. Way back in the early ages of time, when we actually walked to school And then we had lunch. We didn't eat lunch in school. We came back home. Mom was always there with a hot meal and always that hug and that I love you and send you off for afternoon at school. My two brothers, incredible brothers, they were much older than I was, so they actually became fathers to me. My dad died early when I was a teenager, and so they became incredible brothers. But one thing happened in our family as I got into my late teens, and that is that religion destroyed our family. It turned our home into houses because we went in a little different route. And because of our belief in certain systems, certain ways, our home became, or our home became a house. And again, we understand from what I've seen in many places that it all stems from catastrophic loss of family and that home situation and so on. So the first point that they gave us in the difference between house and home was a home is a place of hospitality. Now, when and they call the people that come off the street, when they're accepted, they're called neighbors. So when a new neighbor comes into the village, they're interviewed so that they can get to know who they are, what their stories were like, and what their likes and dislikes are. And what they'll do is they'll give them basically 3 options on a tiny home. Would you like one? We've got some that have the deck is above the roof line. So you go up the stairs, up the top of your home, and it's right there, and you can look out. There's some that are different styles, etc. They're all different. But they give them the option. Then they ask them, what would you like? What do you enjoy in life? Do you enjoy mountains, butterflies, or birds, or what have you, or the Buffalo Bills? I didn't see any homes like that down there. But they give these people the option. These people are important. They're human beings. They're important people. And again, like I say, by the grace of God, that could be us. So what they do then is they paint the house accordingly with the appropriate colors. They decorate it. If it's butterflies or birds or what have you, they have pictures, different scenes, etc. And every person that moves into a home gets a new mattress. Not from the former person, but the old mattress is taken out, a new mattress is put in. It's a part of hospitality. And when I first came to Wonder, all I knew about Wonder was it was in a bar. So I didn't know what to expect when I first came in. I wasn't sure if I was going to hear the first words were, do you want draft or bottle? Or what? But the first words I heard, and I think many of you may have heard them today, is welcome home. And something happened when I first came here without understanding anything else about this place. Something was triggered in my spirit that said, this is a place of family, a place of home. I had been at that point without a church home for about 7 years, been kind of a transient going on. And when I first came, I knew. And then so many people, and I don't want to put out names because I would forget, and there'd be someone else. But the first the greeting, when I came in, there were greeters that really cared about you, that really asked questions and wanted to know who you were, etc. The hospitality was amazing. There was a couple that I got to meet the first week, understood they had a Bible study in their home, and they invited me there. And they were just incredible in how they treated me. There was a good brother that I've developed here who wanted me to go to a service with him and said, I think you need to be here for a particular reason. And he encouraged me to go. And we went. And it literally changed. I heard something that was prophesied over my daughter specifically that changed everything in my relationship with her, because I had a brother that came alongside and encouraged me to go. And one of the interesting things, going back to Community First, is before, and again talking about hospitality, before any home was built on those 51 acres, they created a 2-acre organic garden, following the model of God, who in the Garden of Eden made the garden before people were in there. And so their belief was, these people have been on the streets for years, perhaps decades, eating garbage and scraps from dumpsters and not knowing what they've had, but now they were going to eat the very best of God's food, the very best in the time that they had left in their life. And we know here that, speaking of feeding and so on, the thousands, the tens of thousands of meals that have been packed here in this facility and sent to our precious brothers and sisters in Sierra Leone, all of the food, and now some of that being distributed in Buffalo. And going to Matthew chapter 25 and verses 34 through 40, it says, "Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' Then the righteous will answer him, saying, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, and thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick and in prison and visit you?' And the king will answer them and say, 'Truly, I say to you, Dennis, I say to you, people of Wonder, as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me.'" Hospitality includes, we saw and we witnessed incredible worship. That doesn't just happen like that. That takes time, and that was the most amazing worship today. So powerful and so incredible. It takes time to do that. It takes time to prepare. Our pastors every week to prepare a message. And growing up, my mom used to prepare, as again, all that preparation and the hospitality. She would prepare very healthy meals. But she would make like boiled cabbage, broccoli, asparagus, pan-fried liver. Oh my goodness. And then my dad on Fridays, we were good Catholics. My dad on Fridays would open up his can of sardines and put them on in the middle of 2 pieces of white bread. Oh my! Just the thought of it now is just, oh yeah. But my mom, as time went on, became the greatest cook. That cabbage turned into stuffed cabbage with rice and meat and fried onions on top, and it was the greatest thing. And people would come from all over to want to have one of her meals. And she made all kinds of different things, but from a standpoint of hospitality. And in Matthew chapter 14 and verses 13 through 21, we always hear about the feeding of the 5,000. And then we know that those were 5,000 men that were there. So maybe there were about 10,000 people. Now, we hear about the miracle and we think about the miracle, but think about Jesus and the hospitality. If you're the 10,000th person, you don't have any clue that they've got 5 loaves and 2 fishes. All you know is you're hungry. And yet, in reading in this event, when Jesus heard it, he departed from there by boat and to a deserted place by himself. But when the multitudes heard, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Jesus went out, he saw a great multitude, and he was moved with compassion for them, and healed their sick. When it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves food." But Jesus said to them, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "We have only 5 loaves and 2 fishes." And Jesus said, "Bring them to me." Then he commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass, and he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke, and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitudes, so that they all ate and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of fragments that remained. Now those who had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. A place of hospitality, even in that particular scenario. And in Jeremiah 33:3, our dad, he says, "Call to me, and I'll answer you. I'm going to show you great things, mighty things, which you don't know." That's the kind of father, that's the kind of hospitality that we have. A dad who's willing to share his plan for us. He's so excited that we come not just on Sundays, not just for this brief time, but for every day, as was mentioned earlier. Every day to go to our dad, and he knows the plans he has for us, and he wants to give them to us. And I'm basically an introvert, and I sometimes have, with new people, it's a little challenge to get to know everyone, or to get into deep conversations. But I love coffee. And if ever any one of you want to get together and we go out for coffee, I like dark roast. But I would love to go out and just, I may not know about how to use Venmo that was up there, or the latest grok in AI or what have you, but I probably have some decades more of life on this planet than many of you have. And I've been through house fires. I've been through job losses. I've been through financial crises. I've been married for 41 years to the same woman. And I've been through all of life's challenges and so on. And maybe there's just something we could share. And maybe you can share and explain to me where I need to improve and so on. But it's a part of hospitality, and we can all do that. We can all share our experiences and how God has worked in our lives, because he is working in each and every one of our lives. All right, the second thing they told us was that a home is a place of permanence. It's not just a roof, or a place where you shelter for a bit. It's a place of permanence. On the streets, I'm told that many who are homeless, they use the analogy they sleep with one eye open, because they don't know that someone's not going to come and steal what little they have, or worse, what could harm them. The average age of one of the people there at Community First Village is 57 years old. The average death age is 60. So the workers there, they prepare the people for an eternal life, a time of permanence. And while they're there, the home that they're given is permanent For as long as they want it, it's theirs to keep. And as a part of that permanence, every house has an address, and that's really important to people. It says, I live at 65 Albemarle Street in Buffalo, or I live wherever it may be. And when they die, if the family is willing, they will cremate the remains, and they have a marker there for the people. Because if you die on the street and you don't have any identification, you're put in what's called a pauper cemetery, and you're forgotten. There's nothing the people will remember you for. Here, they have a marker, and they have a cross there, and it's not the cross of Jesus. It's the cross of the thief that asked to be in the kingdom. And the purpose of that cross is so that people will understand it's not too late, and the hope and the permanence they have in the future. In John 14, verses 1 through 3, now Jesus, just 24 hours before he was going to go through the most brutal, horrible death, where he's going to be separated from his Father. Every sin that you and I committed, that everyone committed, past, present, and future, was going to be put on him. What does he say in John 14, 1 through 3? Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. And I go to prepare a place for you. He's preparing a place, a permanence for us. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you will always be. So, as we look at church, as we look at our family here, we can see this as a place of permanence, a place that's leading us to and directing us and showing us where that future lies. It's not just a temporary, well, I think I'll go here, I'll go there, whatever. It's a home. It's a place to come that's home. And then number 3, a home is a place of orientation. And the way they describe that is it provides order and direction to our lives, a secure point from which to look out on the world, a firm grasp of one's own position in the order of things. And we are here to learn more about from the incredible, true, complete Word of God. In Matthew 21, verses 12 through 13, it says, Then Jesus went into the temple of God and drove out all of those who bought and sold in the temple, and overturned the tables of the money changers and then the seats of those who sold doves. And he said to them, It is written, my house is a house of prayer. My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you've made it a den of thieves. So this is a place we learn how to pray. We learn the importance of prayer and the communication between our dad and ourselves. In Matthew 28, 18 through 20, and Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go you therefore and make disciples. Not make converts. It didn't say, it said disciples. To teach. We're here to learn, to grow, to understand more. And to make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all the things that I've commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. We come home to a dad who wants to share and wants to explain, this is how you live this life, this challenge, this opportunity that I've given you. These are the unique visions and dreams that I've given you and I've designed you with. You specifically. And I will show you how to go through that. When my dad passed, I wished he would have written things down. I wish he would have written a book for me. I mean, he knew how to do everything. And I was a dumb teenager. I didn't really want to be with him. I was riding my bike down a Tonawanda Street in Buffalo with my friends and so on. And we didn't have Google at the time. So you couldn't Google or YouTube how to do something. And when my dad died, it was just my mom in a home, and it was a two-family home, had to learn how to do everything from scratch. There was no one to be able to help out. And to have a dad who would write everything down. And we do. In the Word of God, he wrote it all down for us. And not only did he write that down, he says that he wrote a book about you. Wouldn't it be amazing just to go in prayer to him and say, Dad, can you reveal some of that book about me? I mean, I've gone in some pretty lousy places. I've had some pretty tough times, etc. I've taken the off-ramp on the highway that you've had patterned for me. And he'll show you. He'll show you. And he's got other on-ramps back onto that highway that get you right back in there. So, and then you think, well, my circumstances are unique. I've done this and I've done that, and I've had a parent who's done some evil things, etc. And we don't understand. God has dealt with your situation millions of times. Our situations are not unique. God has dealt with them millions of times. He knows exactly how to get you back on that on-ramp. And he walks us through it, and he shows us in deep love and through his word and through the Holy Spirit. So your circumstances, there's no one here today that has unique circumstances. And did I say there were 3 points? When you're old, sometimes... But I did have three points until yesterday. How many of you are not aware of a podcast called Wildly More? Can I see your hands? Not aware. Not aware. Okay, you've got to go and listen. And I think it's on YouTube as well, right? Wildly More. It's a podcast by our pastors, Joe and Kate, which is truly amazing. They're into episode 8 now. And I had listened to episode 7, and I thought I was done until I looked back, or I think Kate may have mentioned that there's more in episode 8. And wow, so because of her and episode 8, you got to listen to one more point. So there was another thing they mentioned, which was really important in the seminar, the symposium. It says, a home is a place of safety and rest. The church is our home where we can come and unwind, and it should be a place where we just, wow, it's been a tough week. It's a real struggle. I don't know what's going to happen. The economy, look at our bank statement that just came in. It does not look all that great. And I know we've got these bills coming up and so on. Church, our home, is the place where we can come and just rest and hear from our dad and hear the truth and know that we've got an incredible future. And know that we're in a battle. It's not like everything is roses and great. We're in a battle. We fight during the week. It's tough. I used to hate Monday mornings before I retired. Now, when it's winter time If on a Monday morning I raise the curtain and say, oh, it's snowing outside, close and go back to bed. But for a lot of you, that's not the case. But church is that home where we can come during the week and get prepared for the next week and what's coming. And what the last podcast really brought to attention was a quote by Teddy Roosevelt, which I really love. And some of you may have heard this about who we are in this church and what we're going through. He says, it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails with daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. We're those warriors. God calls us, and he says in Ephesians 6:10 through 13, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God. Is that not our dad talking about us as warriors? That you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God. We're warriors. We're warriors. We need to come back to camp. We need to get instruction from the generals to understand our position and where we go in this next week. And so finally, in conclusion, no more points. Again, we're in a place of being that warrior and needing that home to come to, that place where we can talk to a brother or sister and say, man, I had this situation. Any thoughts, any help? Or maybe it's just a hug. Maybe it's a hug, or I'll pray for you. But a place that's a home, not a house, not a place of a roof where you go for an hour and that's it for the week, but a home and a true place. Hebrews 10, verses 24 through 25. And let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. We need to be exhorting, to helping, to giving, to supporting each other as brothers and sisters, as family. Our church is a place of hospitality, creating those bonds of friendship and love, a place of permanence, just like our families should be, a place of orientation where we come and we get to our true north, our compass that tells us where we go next on our journey, a place of Sabbath rest where we can come and just be ourselves, just be open and honest and true. And as we wrap this up in Acts chapter 2, verses 42 through 47, the church, and they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, in the breaking of bread and in prayers. Then fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles. Now all who believed were together and had all things in common, and sold their possessions and goods and divided them among all, as anyone had need. So continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily those who were being saved. As I left Community First Village, I saw the church of God in action. I saw people who were thrown aside, now brought as brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, with a permanence, with a future, with a hope. I've heard the saying, it takes hands to build a house, but only hearts can build a home. I love you all. I really do. And like I said, anytime I'm retired, or at least I think I am, but I'd love to come out and we could talk, we could share stories, war stories, and maybe there might even be some words of wisdom I might have for you. Love you. Have a great rest of the weekend.